Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here with yet another tropical weather forecast and discussion here, and we're going to be talking about future Hurricane Imelda over here that is going to be impacting the southeast US. Potentially, models are getting a little bit ridiculous lately, and there are 3 different scenarios that are being thrown into the mix, and all 3 of them have equal chances of happening. Really is a bad time to be a forecaster, right? And then we have Humberto, which, yes, is a real Sally image from earlier. You could see the eye popping right out. This thing looks like it is ready to go insane. Speaking of Humberto, that's what we're going to start off with first, and you can see here, it does look very intense. It did undergo a period of rapid to potentially even explosive intensification earlier this afternoon, where we saw it jump from a tropical storm to a Category 3 major hurricane in I think about 6 hours it took. It was very rapid. You could see there its eye poking out, looking quite absurd already. Now we look at Slopfest down here with not Invest 94L, but now potential tropical cyclone 9, which is starting to spin about a little bit more. It is pretty elongated. It looks pretty elongated on Sally imagery, though I can't confirm. There is a center of circulation on the tip of Cuba right there that has been observed with slightly lower pressure readings. Now, as we go ahead and take a look at a much broader look at things from weather-wise here, you can see your National Hurricane Center's cone of uncertainty with our Sally imagery, and Humberto is anticipated to move off to the northeast here and become a Category 4 major hurricane. You can see that there. We could even see this thing become a Category 5, so a very intense hurricane out there in the wide open Atlantic. But don't laugh now, because track of Humberto has shifted a little bit further off to the east, and Bermuda, you need to be very weather aware for this. Again, a Category 3 impact is possible directly to the island as you are in the cone of uncertainty now, so you need to be extremely weather aware and monitor forecasts closely. Now, as we look at our spaghetti models, you can see the majority of them do not take it into Bermuda, but rather off to the northwest of Bermuda here. But still, this has been shifting east over today, and that could continue, and this is something we really do need to monitor closely. Now, as we look at potential tropical cyclone number 9 down here, this will be a future Hurricane Imelda here. We are seeing it right now as just a tropical depression, but this is anticipated to strengthen all the way up into a hurricane by the time we reach, I believe that is Saturday to Sunday here. And this is going to do some really weird motions before it reaches the coast here, so that is something we're really going to need to watch out for closely. Alright, we are now going to take a look at our intensity guidance for Humberto. I actually just looked up a pronunciation guide for the storm name, because it is a little bit hard to pronounce, and I want to make sure that I am doing this correctly. So you can see the majority of our models here are predicting a Category 4 hurricane at its maximum, even potentially a low-end Category 5. We're just skimming the base of that there, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, there is a little bit of wind shear in the way, but we could definitely see this thing strengthen a little bit more than forecasted. Now, as we take a look at potential tropical cyclone 9's intensity guidance, we could see this thing becoming a high-end tropical storm to a low-end Category 1 hurricane. I would actually argue we could see a mid-range Cat 1 hurricane, but we'll have to wait and see. Then you have this model here, almost a major. I'm not entirely sold on that. I don't think this thing will have enough time to become a major hurricane, but only time will tell. And then here are your spaghetti models for 9, and this looks diabolical. Very tight consensus through 72 hours. After that, you have a batch of models going out to sea, and you have a batch of models heading into the US. And there is absolutely no way to tell what is going to happen just yet. So it is going to be a crazy waiting game, and a lot of people are going to be misled by forecasts. This is definitely a forecasting nightmare, if I do say so myself. But now we're going to take a look here at some of our ensemble models. Here we're going to take a look at our European ensemble first, just to kind of see what is going on. So you could see Humberto out here. out in the open Atlantic, not threatening anyone, and then future Imelda right here along your coast. And I really want to point this out because I find this very interesting. Not only is this thing a little more intense, this model run, you can actually see a few members here depicting a borderline or even a mid-range Category 2 hurricane, so that's new information, but also the fact that a lot of these actually stall off the coast, like right within here. You see this cluster here that does not make a direct landfall, but rather stalls for a bit. And this is going to be very interesting, because if we do see Imelda stall, say, right along the coast right here, we could be talking about some extremely significant flooding issues just inland here, maybe say into these areas here. That is something we're really going to need to watch for. Again, if we see this stall, a few models here are depicting upwards of a foot of rain, if not more. So really, this thing needs to get caught by Humberto and be dragged out to sea, because we do not want this thing slowing down or causing any issues like that. So out here we have Humberto, and quite a lot of members show it going right up against Bermuda here. There's Bermuda, and there is our cluster. This is going to be a very serious situation potentially for that island. So if you all are on Bermuda, you need to start preparing just in case. And then you can see quite a few members take Imelda and then shove that thing right into Bermuda as well. So potentially a 1-2 punch for you guys there. We're going to have to wait and see, because absolutely nobody, including myself or the models or even the professionals, know what's going to happen. Fun times, right? We are now going to take a look at our deterministic European model here, and it initializes Imelda going up pretty far off to the west at first, and then of course going up through the Bahamas and brushing right up against the coastline. Take a look at this. It does potentially make a direct landfall, but it stalls right there. That is very dangerous indeed. And you can see a lot of very heavy rainfall making it on shore. And then you, of course, have Humberto bringing potentially hurricane conditions to Bermuda, and then Imelda out here going into the ocean, then making a second landfall with another barrage of very heavy to extreme rain. And just wait until you see the projected rainfall totals from this particular model. So this is not a forecast, but I just want to show you all what could happen if Imelda does stall off the coast. This model in particular is showing upwards of 2 feet of rain. 2 feet in Myrtle Beach. That is 24 inches. Really hope that this does not happen, but this is a potential scenario, and that is why I am showing it. Again, 2 feet is out to lunch right now. I do think it'll be quite a bit less than this, but again, you need to stay extremely weather aware and get prepared just in case. Now, how about our AI ensemble here from our European model? You can see basically the same song and dance. A lot of members, again, stalling it right off the coast here in this area. So this may be a little bit further offshore to where you wouldn't see as many impacts such as flooding, but this is still something to watch. And then you have Humberto out here, and this is very inaccurate because this thing is past 976 millibars at this point, but you could see a lot of members throwing it right into Bermuda, so we really need to watch that. Our deterministic AI model looks like this. Again, you can see Imelda here not actually making a landfall and being quite a bit far offshore. This is some really good news. This would only bring areas up to an inch of rain just along the coast. So we really got to hope this happens. And then Humberto out here sliding right by Bermuda yet again here. And again, that's just very interesting. And then this thing does some weird stuff, makes a landfall in the Outer Banks. This is not a forecast. In fact, this probably will not happen. Now for our GFS ensemble here, you could see same song and dance. I'm just trying to go through all the possibilities. That's why I'm showing you this multiple times. But you can see quite a big majority of it, again, stalling it right within this area here. So definitely going to be talking about some serious impacts if that unfolds. Humberto out there, you get the idea. I've talked about this 4 times already. You can see that they're Bermuda. Again, get prepared just in case. Our main deterministic run of our GFS model here shows something pretty similar. Very heavy rain and damaging to destructive winds right off the coast here. This is like within a mile or two. cutting it really close. Humberto out here a little further offshore Bermuda. That is some fantastic news. And then what this thing is, that's just probably not going to happen. I will be completely honest with you all. Now I'm going to go ahead and take you through some of the other AI models, the FNV3 model here, showing a really interesting two-fork scenario here, two-pronged scenario. You could see some of our members curve it into the US, but actually, a lot of them curve it out to sea, and we even have a few in the middle that go like this, which I don't really think would happen, but you could also see a lot of them stalling right off the coast, so something to watch. Then as we go into our GENC model here, again, same song and dance, except this is showing potentially catastrophic impacts with a stall right within there, but again, not a forecast. In fact, nothing from this video is a forecast because we just don't know what's going to happen. And now let's go ahead and take a look at some of our hurricane models here. And yes, the video is going on a little bit longer than expected, but I am actually anticipating this video to be longer than the last because there's more stuff to talk about and it's a little more serious. Kind of a little bit of a level of concern, if you will. So we're going to be taking a look at our simulated infrared satellite imagery here from our HAVZ model. And I think we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Look at how intense Humberto gets here. My goodness, absolutely incredible structure being displayed here. If we see anything like this on our actual satellite imagery, then my goodness, this would probably be the best imagery of the entire year. Absolutely insane to see in the wide open Atlantic. This thing just continues to get stronger and stronger, and just going through all these different structural changes, some very satisfying motions here, and then it does begin to weaken rapidly as we go too far out in time. Our HAVZ-B model shows roughly the same thing. Again, a picture perfect structure. I would even rewind back here, a perfect buzzsaw look to this system. By the way, I'm pretty sure this frame has this thing at 160 mile an hour sustained winds. This would be a Category 5 hurricane, and you could see why. An absolute monster out there in the wide open Atlantic. Absolute eye candy to take a look at for sure. Now, our other hurricane models do not have these same features, so we're going to have to look at our winds instead. And you can see Humberto here getting very intense here, upwards of a Category 4 at this frame, 137 miles an hour, 141, so very intense for sure. There's Bermuda right there getting quite impacted. A lot of wind for sure. We are talking about direct tropical storm force winds getting flung right into the island like this. So this would cause some serious impacts, some very high waves, probably between 30 to 40 feet, and deadly rip current risks as well. So you need to stay off the beaches if you're in Bermuda. That's common sense, right? You should know this. And this will continue on through, and yeah, absolute monster, and just... Again, this model imagery just blows me away every single time. No pun intended at all. Our HMON model looks like this, intensifies it a lot more rapidly here, 151 miles an hour, a high-end Category 4 for sure, and yeah, I mean, absolutely insane structure on this storm, and Bermuda slips on by, receiving not too many impacts, but still pretty high winds, so tropical storm force impacts are becoming more likely on the island for sure. Here's a look at PTC9 from our HAVZ model here. You can see it is very slow to organize, and that is expected to occur, but after a while, this thing does take off a bit and does make a landfall as a high-end tropical storm, and oh my goodness, you could see the center of it right here, stalling directly onshore of your Georgia coast here. Again, significant to catastrophic flooding would occur upstream of this, so again, we really got to hope that we don't see this, and then it goes back out again. Holy cow, HAVZ does not need to verify. This would be definitely the event of the year if this happens. So again, you need to take it seriously in terms of rain. HAVZ-B model here, and you notice these are initializing a lot better since the past the mountains and the Dominican Republic, so that is good news. And you can see this thing, again, it looks like a high-end tropical storm, and that's the thing, alright? People are not going to take this seriously because they're going to look at the National Hurricane Center, and they're going to see, or the Weather Channel, and they're going to see, oh, a high-end tropical storm, low-end Category 1 hurricane. I've been through that before. I could survive that. I'm not going to evacuate. I'm going to stay at home. Everything's going to be all right. No. Again, if this does what I think it could do and it stalls just along the coast or just on shore, you could see upwards of over a foot of rain, maybe even 2 feet. That is nothing to mess around with. I don't care if your winds are only 40 to 50 miles an hour and you've survived that, you've been through that before and you've been okay. Try a foot or two of rain. You might not be okay then. So please keep that in mind. If this were to happen, again, significant flooding would occur. This could go even into the mountains of West End Sea as well. We better not be seeing that. Your H-Wharf model here shows the following. You could see it becoming organized again in the Bahamas and making a landfall as a Category 1 hurricane. Never mind, goes back out to sea. Oh my goodness, absolutely ridiculous here, and then moves along your coastline here. The flooding from this would be unimaginable in a scenario like that as well. Our HMON model does probably roughly the same thing, but we'll take a look at it anyways. You can see it, yep, it does go a little bit further inland this time. It brings more impacts to East Tennessee and surrounding areas, so flooding, again, we have to reiterate, could be very serious, if not life-threatening, if this thing does get inland and either stalls out or slows down significantly. And especially if this thing stalls out right along the coastline, you could be talking about damaging winds for multiple hours on end and extraordinarily heavy rainfall. This is not for hype, this is not for clickbait. Genuinely, we do not want this thing slowing down or stalling out. The impacts would be significant. And with that being said, thank you all so much for tuning into today's video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, and share us with friends and family on social media. And leave a comment in the section below if you found this video to be entertaining or even informative, because hopefully you all got a lot of information out of this and know how to prepare for this upcoming system, because again, a lot of uncertainty still remains unknown. And with that said, have a wonderful night, everyone. Stay extremely weather aware if you're along the immediate southeast coastline, or especially if you're in Bermuda as well.